Now let us see topic 2.9, that is electrostatics of conductors. Let us see few important points about this. See, conductors contain mobile charge carriers that you know. There are different type of conductors like metal conductors, electrolytic conductors, semiconductors and so on. In metallic conductors, these charge carriers are electrons. See, the structure of metallic conductor is shown here. These are the places where the positive ion is found and it is surrounded by valence electrons. These valence electrons are basically the electrons which are free to move in the metal, but they are not free to leave the metal, mind well. These are the electrons I have shown, these are the valence electrons and they are free to move randomly here in this metal, but they cannot leave the metal. Along with this, this positive ion is made out of two things. One is the nucleus, and around this nucleus there are some bound electrons also. These are the electrons which are valence electron and they are free to move. But the bound electrons are bound in the orbit. They are supposed to move in the orbit, but they cannot move this way freely in the metal. So, the positive ion is made out of nucleus and the bound electron, and the free electrons are here, those who can move just randomly anywhere. These free electrons form a kind of gas and they collide with each other and with ions and they move randomly in different directions. Very obviously, these electrons are free to move randomly everywhere. So, they sometimes collide with this positive ion, sometimes they collide with the other electrons, and that type of collision keeps on happening in this whole metallic structure. So, we can call this electrons as like creating an electron gas. Now, in presence of external electric field, this free electron will be drifted in opposite direction of the field. Let me show you. Suppose this is the direction of electric field. Somehow we have applied electric field in this direction. So all of these electrons which are negatively charged will feel a force in opposite direction to the electric field. Obviously they are negative and so the force will be in opposite direction to the electric field. So this way all of this free electron will feel a force in opposite direction to the electric field. But at the same time, these positive ions which are made out of nucleus and bound electron will not move at all. These positive ions will not move, though they will be feeling a force, but they cannot move because they are bound with each other with some sort of bond, and that's why they cannot move. So this was about metallic conductor. Now in electrolytic conductor means, let us say if we take a aqueous solution of H2SO4 or aqueous solution of, let us say, HCl, then that will be having H plus ions and Cl minus ion. That means it will be having two ions, positive and negative, both ions. So these ions are the charge carriers of this aqueous solution, or which is known as electrolytic conductors. Now in this type of electrolytic conductors, the motion of these charge carriers are bit complex. It is not only due to the electric field, but it is also due to the chemical force being applied due to the solution. So we shall restrict our discussion to metallic conductors only. That means in this topic we will be discussing the metallic conductors only and not the electrolytic conductor. So now let us note some important results regarding electrostatic conductors. Let us see the first fact about the electrostatics of a conductor. Inside a conductor, electrostatic field is always zero. Let us understand this. First, let us consider a neutral or a charged conductor, and it may also have some external field. Here this is a conductor inside no electric field, no external electric field, and this is a conductor inside an external electric field. Now this conductor has electrons inside, free electrons inside. You can see these are the free electrons which is surrounding the positive ions everywhere. So when there is no current inside or there is no current on the surface of the conductor, in that situation these positive and negative charges are distributed such a way so that the electric field at every point becomes 0. You can understand these are positive and negative charges, so their electric field will be opposite, and so the resultant electric field at every point in this conductor is remaining 0 when there is no current passing on the surface or inside. That means there is no electric field here. Now if we apply electric field, then what happens? That is very interesting. See, these are positive charges and these are electrons which are negative charges. So suppose if you apply this type of electric field in the positive x direction, let us say, then the electron, these are the free electrons, this electron will feel a force in opposite direction to the electric field. Electric field is in positive x direction, so electron will feel a force in opposite direction, that means in negative x direction. So as you can see here, there will be an accumulation of electron on the surface of this conductor here in the left side direction. At the same time, the positive charges will feel a force in the direction of electric field, so there will be accumulation of positive charge on the right side of the conductor. And now this positive and this negative charge will produce an electric field. Obviously, the electric field is produced from positive to negative. So you can see this one. This one is the electric field produced by this accumulated charges. These are also known as induced charges. So these charges are induced, and due to that this electric field is produced, which is known as internal electric field. Now the external electric field which was in positive x direction and the internal electric field which was in negative x direction will cancel out each other, and again the same thing will happen, that everywhere inside this conductor the electric field will be 0. So the point is, whether you put this conductor in absence of electric field or whether you put this conductor inside electric field, the electric field inside the conductor will be always 0. So we can conclude that in the static situation, the electric field or say electrostatic field is 0 everywhere inside the conductor. Now let us see a second important fact about the electrostatic of conductors. At the surface of the charged conductor, electrostatic field must be normal to the surface at every point. If you take any charged conductor, then on the surface obviously there will be some electric field, and that electric field will be normal to the surface at every point. That we can understand here in this figure. See this figure. This is a spherical conductor, and here is the electric field which is entering the conductor, and here is the electric field coming out of the conductor. So you can see that at every point the electric field is remaining perpendicular, that means normal to the surface. Here you can see all the electric field lines which are entering the surface are perpendicular, and now all of this electric field lines that is coming out from the surface of the conductor are also perpendicular, that means they are normal to the surface of the conductor at that particular point. Now this can be argued by considering this figure here, this figure. Suppose for a while that we consider that electric field is not normal. Rather, electric field is making some angle. Let me show that angle here. Let us say theta angle. Suppose the electric field is making some theta angle with the surface. If this is the case, then what will happen? Here we can draw two components of electric field. One will be parallel to the surface and one will be perpendicular to the surface. Now, due to this parallel component of electric field, obviously this charge will feel a force, and all other charges, whatever will be here, they all will feel some force in the direction of electric field. As we have shown, this is positive charge, so this positive charge will feel a force in the direction of electric field. So obviously this charge will not be static, it will be rather moving due to this force. F parallel is equal to Q E parallel, and in that case we cannot show, come to this figure, in that case we cannot show this type of static charges, because every charge will be feeling some force, so all the charge would be moving. But the fact is that here these are the induced charges, as we have discussed in the previous point. These are the induced charges, and these induced charges are static, they are not moving. And if they are not moving, that means this component of electric field is not there, and if this component is not possible, then electric field should be just perpendicular. It should be like this only. And if we say electric field is like this, that means it is perpendicular to the surface. In this condition only, there will not be any parallel electric field, and so there will not be any force on this charge parallel to the surface, and so this charge can remain stationary, which is shown in this figure. So the conclusion is, in the static situation, therefore electric field should have no tangential component. Thus, electrostatic field at the surface of a charged conductor must be normal to the surface at every point. Let us see third important point of electrostatics of conductor. The interior of a conductor can have no excess charge in the static situation. See, the interior of the conductor means inside the conductor there cannot have any excess charge in a static situation. Let us understand this. In a neutral conductor, we know that same amount of positive and negative charges are there. So, the whole conductor is found to be neutral. Not only that, if you take a small volume element anywhere inside the conductor which is neutral, then that small element will also have zero charge, because again there also same amount of positive and negative charge will be present, and so the total sum will be 0. Now when the conductor is charged, the excess charge can reside only on the surface in the static situation. If you apply some extra charge on the conductor, then that extra charge will remain only on the surface in a static situation. Let us understand this. Suppose this is a conducting sphere and I have given some charge on it, so it is charge sphere. You can see I have shown the charge only on the surface. That is the point what we are discussing here, that there cannot be any charge in the interior part of this conductor. The charge will reside only on the surface. Why it is so, that we can explain by two methods. One simple method is that suppose if I show two positive charge here, then this two positive charge in the interior part will obviously feel some repulsive force, and due to that repulsive force they will try to move as far as possible. So obviously they can be only on the surface. Because of the repulsion, they will move to the surface. This can happen only in conductor, not in insulator. We can charge any insulator. Suppose a plastic can be charged. Now if I place two charges such like in the interior part of a plastic sphere, then though they both will feel a repulsion, but they cannot go anywhere, because plastic is a insulator, it is a non-conductor. That's why charge cannot move. But here this is a conducting sphere. That's why due to this repulsion, this charge will move and will reach to the surface. So that way we can understand all the charges will have a repulsive force between them, and that's why all the charge will try to move on the surface only, and that's why there is no charge possible inside this sphere or inside any conductor. This is one way of solving this question. Now another way is by Gaussian law. We can go with a Gauss law. How it is so? For that, consider an arbitrary volume element dV inside the conductor. Let me show that. Suppose this is a small volume element. Let me name it like dV. This is a small volume element dV. Now this dV is in a portion where the electric field is 0. Let me recall again, we have already studied that inside the conductor electric field is always 0. So in this portion everywhere electric field will be 0. That means the dV element is in a portion where there is no electric field. Now if I take a small Gaussian surface, here it is, and let us name the surface area as S. If I choose a small Gaussian surface which is surrounding this small element, dV element, then because on this surface everywhere the electric field is 0, so as per the Gaussian equation the charge also will be 0. Charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface will be 0. I repeat, as we have said that everywhere here electric field is 0, so on this Gaussian surface also electric field will be 0. If electric field is 0, then as per the Gaussian equation the charge will be also 0. Let me remind you the equation again. It was integration E dot dA is equal to Q upon epsilon 0. This was the equation. Rather I should take closed integration E dot dA is equal to Q upon epsilon 0. And we have discussed that if this E is 0, then obviously Q has to be 0. That's why there cannot be any charge inside this Gaussian surface. Now we can choose this Gaussian surface of very tiny size. Then also the charge will be 0. And we can choose this Gaussian surface at any other point also. Inside this sphere, I can choose Gaussian surface at any point. At every point, electric field is 0, so charge will be 0. So this concludes that at any point inside this conducting sphere, charge is not there. So it's very obvious whatever extra charge we have applied, that charge will reside only and only on the surface of a conducting sphere. So that way we can conclude now. This means there is no net charge at any point inside the conductor, and any excess charge must reside at the surface only. Now let us see fourth important point of the electrostatic of conductor. Electrostatic potential is constant throughout the volume of the conductor and has the same value on the surface as it is inside the surface. This is very interesting. For any conductor, the electrostatic potential inside that conductor and on the surface of that conductor is same and it is constant. How it is so? Let us see. Here you can see this is a conductor and here we have shown all the charges on the surface and these are the electric field coming out from this surface. Now because electric field inside the conductor is 0 and there is no tangential component on the surface, no work is done to move a small test charge within the conductor or on the surface. Let me show here. This is a charged conductor and we have already proved that electric field inside this conductor is always 0. Now from this we can say that as electric field is 0 everywhere, the potential will be same everywhere, because when electric field is 0, there is no work to be done for moving any test charge inside this sphere. So we can say the potential will be same, means it will be constant. Mind well, we cannot say that potential will be 0. We will see later on that even though electric field is 0, potential will not be 0. In some situations it will not be 0. But because there is no electric field, so we need not to do any work while moving any test charge, and that's why the potential here will be constant. So let me mention it here that potential V will be constant everywhere inside this sphere. Moreover, here on this point, on the surface of this sphere, the electric field is perpendicular. You can see electric field is perpendicular everywhere at every point. This also we have already proved that electric field will be perpendicular to the surface. Now when the electric field is perpendicular and if I am moving a test charge from one point to another point, then there will be no work done, because electric field is in this direction, means in perpendicular direction to the surface, and I am moving a test charge on the surface. So the force and displacement will be perpendicular, and that's why there is no work done. So while moving any test charge on the surface, there will be no work done, and if there is no work done, that means the potential will not change. So here also the potential will be constant, and that will be just equal to the potential what is inside this surface. So I'll put here that this potential that is on the surface will be same as the potential inside the surface, inside the sphere. But yes, if I move away from the surface here, then obviously the potential will be different, because now electric field is changing. As you go away, you know that electric field will change, and that's why the potential will also change. And here we can mention it like that here somewhere I can show the potential, let us say V dash, then V dash is less than V. It will be obviously less than V, where V is the potential on the surface and inside the surface. So this way, let me repeat it again. For a charged sphere, potential inside the sphere or on the surface of the sphere is constant. It is not necessarily to be 0, and potential away from the sphere will be less than the potential on the surface. In a system of conductors of arbitrary size, shape and charge configurations, each conductor is characterized by a constant value of potential, but this constant may differ from one conductor to another conductor. Right now I have chosen a uniform shape, that is spherical shape, but conductor can be of many different shapes. So in different shapes, in any arbitrary shape and size and arbitrary charge configuration, each conductor will have constant value of potential, but this constant value will be different than another conductor. That means if I take the same amount of charge on a let us say cube, on a solid cube, then the potential on that cube and potential on this sphere will be different. Now let us see the fifth important point of the electrostatic of conductors. Electric field at the surface of a charged conductor is E is equal to sigma upon epsilon 0 caret n. Means for a conductor which is charged, the electric field will be equal to this equation on the surface. Now to derive this equation, first consider this charged conductor. You can see there is a charge on the surface, and now we are going to use the Gaussian law, and for that we will require a Gaussian surface. Here I will take a Gaussian surface of a pillbox kind. This is a pillbox type of Gaussian surface. Means it is a short cylinder, but a short cylinder is of a kind of pillbox. That's why we are calling this Gaussian surface as a pillbox, but it is our Gaussian surface. And here I can show electric field lines coming radially outward. I am right now showing only the electric field lines coming from this Gaussian surface, not otherwise. And this electric field, let us say it is E, that we need to find out. So, first of all, you can see this Gaussian surface, that means the pillbox is partially inside and partially it is outside of this conductor. And suppose it has a small area, let us say delta S. Let me mention it here. This is the small area, that is delta S. Obviously, this will be also the same area, that is delta S, and here this will be also the same area delta S, because it's a cylinder, so everywhere the area will be same. But the interesting part here is that inside this Gaussian surface, means inside this pillbox, only this delta S surface is charged. The charge is only on this delta S surface, you can understand, because we have already discussed that inside this conductor everywhere the charge is 0. So for the portion which is inside the conductor of the pillbox, for the portion of the pillbox which is inside the conductor, charge is 0, and here also charge is 0. Only this portion of the surface of what? Surface of this conductor. Only this portion of the conductor is having charge, and the area of this charged surface is ds. Now from this, first of all, see, we are choosing this pillbox of very small size, so we can understand this electric field can be considered as almost perpendicular to the surface. Right now I have not shown this pillbox very small, but we have to take this pillbox very small. When we say the cross sectional area is delta S, that means it is very small pillbox, and so the electric field will be almost perpendicular to the surface. Now if you want to find out the flux, then we know the equation of flux phi is equal to electric field into area. So if you want to find out the flux coming out from this Gaussian surface, that means pillbox, then that will be flux phi is equal to plus or minus E delta S. I repeat, we know the equation of flux is E into A, electric field into area. So the flux coming out from this Gaussian surface, obviously you can understand the electric field is coming out from this surface only, and so here the flux will be equal to E into delta S. there is no electric field coming out from this surface or this surface or this surface. Only this is the portion from where the electric field is coming out. So only here we can calculate the flux, and that will be equal to flux phi is equal to plus or minus E into delta S. Why I am putting this plus or minus? Because right now I have shown electric field outside, because the charge is positive, so electric field is outside. But if the charge is negative on this conductor, then electric field will be inside. In that case, this flux will be negative E delta S. So here it is mentioned that it is positive for sigma which is greater than 0, that means sigma is positive, and negative for sigma less than 0, that means the charge is negative. One more thing, we can also calculate the charge on this small surface. Let me mention that also. See, the charge on this surface, as I said, the charge is only there on this surface inside the Gaussian surface, is, let us say, if it is Q, then Q will be equal to sigma into delta S, where sigma is the surface charge density of this conductor's surface. Sigma is the surface charge density on this charge conductor. So again I am repeating, this is the surface which is having charge. We need the charge inside the Gaussian surface. So the charge inside the Gaussian surface is the charge on this portion of the surface, and that can be written as Q is equal to sigma into area, and area is delta S, so sigma into delta S. Now we can apply the Gaussian equation. We know that as per the Gaussian equation, flux phi is Q upon epsilon 0. And so, flux phi, as we have already derived, flux phi is E delta S. Right now I am taking the positive value only. And Q, as we have already discussed, is sigma into delta S upon epsilon 0. So obviously this delta S will be cancelled out, and so we can now write that electric field E is equal to sigma upon epsilon 0. In vector form, we can write it like vector E is equal to sigma upon epsilon 0 caret n, where caret n is the unit vector in the direction of electric field. So here is the proof of this important point, that electric field on any charged conductor, on the surface of the charged conductor, is always E is equal to sigma upon epsilon 0. Mind well, this is the electric field only on the surface. If you go away from the surface, then this electric field will start decreasing. Now let us see sixth important point, very important point of the electrostatic of conductors, that is electrostatic shielding. Let us see what is this electrostatic shielding. First of all, consider a conductor with a cavity. Cavity means this is a conductor which is hollow inside, so that is known as cavity inside. So consider a conductor with some cavity inside. Here is the cavity. A remarkable result is that the electric field inside this cavity is 0. Whatever be the size and shape of the cavity, and whatever be the charge on the conductor, and whatever be the external field in which it might be placed, the electric field inside will be 0. Very interesting. Whatever charge you place here on the surface, electric field is going to be 0. Whatever size or shape you take of the conductor or of the cavity, then also the electric field inside will be 0. And even if you place this whole conductor in external electric field, then also electric field inside this cavity will be 0. Here all different situations are shown all together. See, this is positive charge. sigma greater than 0. So electric field will be going outside. Here also the electric field is going outside because the charge is positive. Here the charge is negative, sigma less than 0. Here also the charge is negative, sigma less than 0. And so the electric field is going towards the conductor. In all of this situation, the electric field inside this hollow space, that means in the cavity, is going to be 0. Here there is no charge kept, that's why sigma is 0. This is also very important, that cavity should not have any charge already there. So sigma inside this cavity is 0. There is no charge density inside this cavity, that is 0. And the potential will be V0. V0 is any constant value. So the potential is V0. Here also, in this part of the conductor, this is a solid part, this is not a hollow part. This is a solid part. Here the potential is constant. And the same potential will be there inside this cavity. And meanwhile, the same potential will be there on the surface of this conductor as well. Because we know that there are two basic things what we already learned. For a conductor, inside the conductor, the electric field is 0. So at this portion also electric field will be 0. I can mention it that here also the electric field is 0. As well as inside the cavity also electric field will be 0. At the same time, inside this conductor the potential is constant, and on the surface also the potential is constant. And so inside this cavity also the potential will be the same constant, V is equal to V0. A related result is that even if the conductor is charged or charges are induced on a neutral conductor by external electric field, all the charges reside only on the outer surface of the conductor with the cavity. So no charge is going inside. See what is said here. If you place, as I already discussed, if you place this conductor in an electric field, then charge will be induced. Suppose if the electric field is produced like this in right side direction, let me show that. If the electric field is produced like this, I am talking about the external electric field, mind well. We are not talking right now about the electric field which is produced due to the charge on the conductor. We are producing an external electric field. Then also, due to this external electric field, on this portion positive charge will be accumulated or say induced, and on this portion negative charge will be induced. So here also charge is induced, but charge is not going inside. There is no charge inside or nor in the cavity inside. That's why sigma is equal to 0 remains constant, and so the electric field inside this cavity remains 0 only. So the potential is also remaining V0 constant. Let us see further. Whatever be the charge and field configuration outside, any cavity in the conductor remains shielded from the outside electric influence. Very important. See, whatever charge you produce on the surface, as it is shown here, and whatever external electric field you produce, the cavity in the conductor remains shielded, means it remains protected from the outside electric influence. The electric field inside the cavity is always 0, and this is known as electrostatic shielding. Means it is shielded from all the electric influence, that's why it is known as electrostatic shielding. So let me conclude again. If you take any conductor having a hollow part inside, that means a cavity inside, then whatever you do, electric field inside will remain 0. Condition 2, there should not be any charge inside the conductor already, means sigma should be 0. So electric field will be 0 and potential will be constant, whatever it is. The effect can be made use of in protecting sensitive instruments from outside electric influence. See, this method can be used for protecting any sensitive instrument from outside electric field. Let us say uh, a satellite is always kept outside of the atmosphere or very far from earth, and it is always in the influence of electric field and electric charge coming from sun. So it requires a protection from that electric field and that electric charge. For that, it is shielded by a silver foil. So it is shielded totally by a silver foil, means it is covered totally by a silver foil. So that silver foil works like this conductor, and the portion inside that silver foil works like this cavity where the satellite is there. So satellite gets a electrostatic shielding, and so it remains unaffected from the outside electric field or any outside electric influence. The same thing is done for microprocessor in mobile or any computer. Mobile and computer are having microprocessor which are very sensitive to electric field. So they are always covered with a metal plate. So because it is covered by a metal plate, the microprocessor is inside that metal plate. So it gets a electrostatic shielding. That's why this microprocessor is remaining unaffected from the external electric field or any outside electric influence. Now here is the summary of electrostatic properties of conductor. This is a conductor, and inside that conductor electric field is 0, and rho, that is the volume charge density, that is 0. This suggests that electric field inside a conductor and charge inside a conductor is 0. In this second figure, you can see there is a positive charge on the surface, and here there is a negative charge on the surface. Due to this positive charge, the electric field lines are coming out normally to the surface, and here due to negative charge, the electric field lines are going normally towards the surface. Still, there is no electric field inside the conductor and there is no charge inside the conductor because the volume charge density is 0. In this third figure, we can see everywhere inside this conductor potential is constant, V is equal to V0, as well as on the surface potential is the same, V is equal to V0. In this fourth figure, we can see this is a conductor having cavity, that means a hollow space inside, and there is some charge induced on the surface. Here there is positive charge, here there is negative charge. Still, the electric field inside the cavity is 0 and the surface charge density sigma is also 0. So anything kept inside this cavity will be protected from all the electric effect from outside. This is known as electrostatic shielding. So that was electrostatic shielding. Now one more thing about this equation. Let me clarify that this is the equation of electric field on the surface. Let me show it here. Yes. See, here positive charge is induced on the surface of the conductor, and here the negative charge is induced on the surface of the conductor. And due to that, this electric field is radially outside and this electric field is radially inside. Both of this electric field on the very surface is E is equal to sigma upon epsilon 0, where sigma is the surface charge density on this surface, whether it is positive charge or negative charge. Mind well, this equation is the equation of electric field for a conductor, and that too on the surface only. If you go away from the surface, then the electric field will decrease always. Now let us see example 2.7. A very conceptual type of questions are there. The first question is, a comb run through one's dry hair attracts small bits of paper. Why it is so? What happens if the hair is wet or if it is a rainy day? Let us take every question one by one with the answer. See, when you rub any comb in hair, due to friction, electrons are transferred from hair to the comb. That's why comb becomes negatively charged and hair becomes positively charged. This is how it works and this is how the charge is transferred. Now, when we bring this comb, which is already negatively charged, near a paper piece, the molecules of that paper get polarized. And that's why every molecule behaves as a dipole. One end is positive, another end of that molecule is negative. And now this dipoles means the molecules of the paper, which I am calling as a dipole now, feels a force due to the electric field produced by the charge of the comb, and that's why it gets attracted towards the comb. This is how the paper pieces are being attracted by the comb. Now the question is, what if the hairs are wet or if the day is rainy day? See, if the hairs are wet, then obviously the friction will not occur, and that's why the transfer of electron will not take place, and so the comb will not become negatively charged and the hairs will not become positively charged, and that's why this comb will not be able to attract any paper piece. The same will happen in rainy day also. In rainy day, moisture is present, and due to that moisture, this friction is not being occurred, and it doesn't allow the comb to get charged. Moreover, the moisture in the atmosphere also works here. If anything is charged, then due to the moisture in the atmosphere, the charge gets reduced gradually, because whatever charge will be produced, it will be like one end will be positive and another will be negative. Like here, as we are talking, that comb will be negatively charged and the hair will be positively charged. But if moisture is present, then this charge will be reduced due to moisture, because moisture is conductor, and so it will be reduced, and that's why this charge effect, and that's why the attraction of paper will not occur. Second question is, ordinary rubber is an insulator, but special rubber tires of aircraft are made slightly conducting. Why it is necessary? It is very much necessary, because first of all, you must be knowing one thing, that when aeroplane is flying, it is having a tremendous friction with air, and due to this friction, aeroplane gets charged. Means there is a large amount of static electric charge on the aeroplane when it is flying. Now, when this aeroplane gets landed, due to pure rubber in the tire, the charge on the aeroplane will remain there on the aeroplane only, because this tire, if it is made out of pure rubber, then it will not allow, this rubber will not allow the charge to pass from aeroplane to ground, and that's why whole amount of charge will remain on the aeroplane. Now, when any person is coming down from the aeroplane, so as soon as he touch the ground, when the person touch the ground, he will come in between aeroplane and ground as a conductor. Our body is conductor. Even if he is wearing a rubber sole boot, then that small rubber sole will not work here, and a large amount of current will pass through that person, which will obviously create death of that person. And even if nobody is coming down, let us say, then also because this aeroplane is highly charged, so that creates a big potential difference between aeroplane and ground. Now, due to this large amount of potential difference, it's quite possible that there can occur a big spark. If there is a big spark near any aeroplane, then it can light a fire and can create a very big accident. That's why it is very much advisable to keep the rubber of the tire of a aircraft slightly conducting, not totally conducting, but at least slightly conducting, so that whenever the aeroplane lands, the charge from the aeroplane will gradually pass through the tire towards ground, and so the total charge will be nullified from the aeroplane, and that will not create any sort of accident. Third question is, vehicles carrying inflammable material usually have metallic ropes touching the ground during motion. Why it is so? It is having the same answer as for the aircraft. When these vehicles are traveling, they are having a large friction with air, and due to that friction, this vehicle gets charged. And due to the potential difference between this vehicle and ground, there can occur any spark. And because there is a inflammable material like any LPG gas or petrol or diesel or something like that, this spark can create a very big fire. It can create a very big accident. That's why you might have seen behind these vehicles some large trucks and so on. On the rear portion, you will find some metallic ropes hanging, and it would be touching the ground. So when this vehicle is moving, this conducting rope, that means the metallic rope which are conducting, are continuously in contact with the ground. And that's why whatever charge is produced or whatever charge is induced on the vehicle due to friction will be nullified. Thus, it will protect the vehicle from any big accident due to spark. Now, fourth question. A bird perches on a bare high power line and nothing happens to it. A man standing on the ground touches the same line, gets a fatal shock. Why it is so? This is an interesting question. See, when bird is sitting on a bare high power line, it gets high charge on it. But still, there is no passage of passing that charge. That means there is no passage to pass current. That's why this bird doesn't get any sort of harm. But suppose a person is standing on ground and he touches the same line, then what will happen? The whole amount of charge will pass through his body towards ground. Means there will be a passage of charge from the wire to the body to the ground. This creates a large amount of charge to pass through the body, means a large amount of current passes through that body, and that creates obviously a fatal shock. So it is not harmful if you are having charge on you, but it is very much harmful if charge passes through you. Means if current passes through our body, that creates a fatal shock to our body. That is what is harmful. I repeat, the charge on a body is not harmful, but a passage of charge through the body is harmful.